be here with you all um, this evening. Like Alan said, I am the Richmond team member for Virginia Clean Cities and have been working with Jaunt in the Charlottesville area on some electric bus deployment for sort of point to point type transportation. This is like the smaller vans that you see taking people to doctor's appointments, taking people to work, taking people home from work. And the way this project works is trying to prove a business model for rural charging, where if that built in customer of the bus is there, then we can get that charger out with even without some of the federal incentives and things like that there used to be for those chargers. So somewhere on this route, we're going to drop a charger. That charger will be available for use for the bus, but then when the bus isn't using it, it will be open to the public. We have a little survey here that I will put in the chat. Um, and happy to talk, happy to hear ideas about where this could be. Um, please share this survey far and wide. I'm sure you can hear it's dinner time. So like we're doing dinner, we're doing Zooms, we're doing it all. This is 21st century parenting. But one of the reasons that we do this work and one of the reasons that we think about these things and try to figure it out, we have to play the long game. This dude right here, he is 17 months old. In 2100, he'll be younger than the president is today. Um, so we're no longer doing this work. We're no longer thinking about these things for hypothetical future people. We are now doing these things and thinking about these things for people who are alive right now. Here, you can take it. He wants to say hi to all of you. He's mad I turned the laptop back around. But happy to talk to you about this or other projects that we're working on. Alan just put our main website in the chat. I'm not sure how much folks want to travel, but there's two pretty fun events coming up. One on September 6th in Fredericksburg and one on September 20th with at Norfolk Premium Outlets. Both of these are EV ride and drive events where there will be vehicles on site that you can test drive and check out. Um, yeah, and really excited to be on with y'all and hear more about CEVA 100.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Martha.
Absolutely.
I have a EV. I have a Chevy Bolt and just had my first long distance trip on it. And I've got to tell you, that infrastructure is so very important. So what I'm wondering is, um, if you have a EV car, an electric car, you know that you only want to charge the battery to 80% most of the time. And so, is there a common distance that you can calculate for 80% for an electric bus or whatever? Are they all the same size? Can you estimate how frequently one would need a charger so that and are they fast chargers? How long would it take for them to get charged?
Yeah, excellent question. And this is a really good alignment with the Project Sync inquiries. The Chevrolet Bolt, which I also own, can charge at 50 kilowatts per hour on those long range trips. And so you end up to get that battery back up to that 80%, you might be getting 50 kilowatts or 1 hour worth of charge every 200 miles for that vehicle. With a transit vehicle, they might not get 4 miles per kilowatt hour, but they might get 1 mile per kilowatt hour because of the scope and scale of those vehicles. And so every community group, every fleet, every operator is going to be very rational, deeply rational in how they plan out where they will charge those heavy duty vehicles and how much infrastructure there is. The current plan is to have chargers about every 50 miles in the US. And that started only with light duty charging. We still have not tackled medium and heavy duty charging. That's what this
Yeah.
project is starting to do.
Yeah.
But it would also be about every 50 miles, because you want to be able to charge about every 100 miles, and you don't want to be towing your vehicle every time that there's one of these chargers that's down. There's going to need to be a lot of redundancy, and there's no possible way to identify the exact like number across the different vehicles. Like, you have to think a trash truck might get 3 miles per gallon, but a neighbor that's driving a truck that's called a Maverick might get 30 miles per gallon. And so there's a big difference between the different vehicles, even with gasoline. Tom?
Yep.
Oh,
In Charlottesville, there's been a lot of discussion and contention about electrifying the bus fleet, and one of the sort of background issues is a lot of the Charlottesville buses ride with low ridership, which has brought up the idea of, well, what about using smaller buses for some of the routes? And one of the counselors said to me recently that the large buses are designed, the large electric buses are designed to run about, or diesel buses anyway, about 500,000 miles. But smaller buses don't last nearly as long. And I was wondering if you sort of are familiar at all with sort of figures on longevity of large versus small buses.
These are great questions. And Graham might be able to weigh in here as well.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one of the things with this project is that is a lot of how these buses get to these rural transit agencies. So the transit buses that Bay Transit uses and Jaunt uses are used ones from larger urban programs. Sorry, man, I'm talking here. And so some of these buses go through one fleet and then move along and go to the next fleet. And so like here in Richmond, GRTC has some electric smaller vans. And then the process is to roll these out now to some of the rural ones. So that is a part of it.
And I would jump in to share that we are very early in this implementation. Alexandria Dash has had about 3 years under their belt with a lot of electric large transit vehicles. We're still rolling out many of the medium-sized vehicles. But what's great about the technology is that it often comes with the 100,000-mile warranties or longer available from these vendors. That's essentially a powertrain warranty for the electric vehicles. So I would say that if folks are super confident about some technology element, such as longevity right now, that they're guessing, they're over speaking. We are still in the early pilot phases for everything. We don't know how good it will be or the challenges. We've had a lot of companies that have sometimes the companies won't last as long as the vehicles. A lot of times the companies won't last as long as the vehicles.
Hey, I have a question. I know that there was legislation that was trying to make it, that was proposed and made it, a fair distance through the General Assembly last year on rural EV charging infrastructure. Ultimately, it didn't pass. Are you guys involved in that effort? And what prospects do you see, let's say, with a new governor that is more pro-environmental in their practices? What potential do you see in Virginia funding EV infrastructure given the absence of federal support on this issue?
Well, this is a really great opportunity for me to make a commercial about Charlottesville's micro grant, where the city of Charlottesville offers cash to any business or nonprofit that is installing an electric vehicle charger. There is an active micro grant that's been on the books for 10 years to help the Charlottesville area folks. And so I would love to talk more about that. But electric vehicle chargers can cost as low as $600. The room that I'm in right now has like 5 EV chargers in it, even though this is a personal office at my home. This is not where people should be hoarding EV chargers. The governor made a choice last year to quote specific private businesses that are not installing electric vehicle chargers while vetoing the bipartisan legislation that facilitated that rural EV charger bill last year. And so I think there's a very good chance that in a good budget environment that Virginia could do some EV charger incentives. I think Virginia is actively installing EV chargers as evidenced with this project and with the Charlottesville thing. So we have about 5,000 alternative fuel infrastructure sites like EV charger ports that are publicly mapped right now in Virginia. And 15 years ago, we had 0. And so there's growth that will continue to happen with Virginia, with local governments, and with individuals, frankly, who simply decide to make their outlets public and take a bunch of cash in order to sell electric vehicle charging.
Well, thank you, Alan and Graham. Does anyone else have any questions on this topic?
And I was just going to pitch for that incentive in Charlottesville and in Alexandria. There are incentives for multifamily charging. I just personally, me as a guy, I think that multifamily is the next real frontier for EV charging, far more than this like corridor stuff. Most people, when they charge at home, and a lot of people live in apartments.
Very good point. Bob, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry, back to you, Peter.
I just wanted to make a comment. When we were really working hard to get the Charlottesville area transit to adopt electric buses, to purchase electric buses, we did a lot of research. And one of the users of electric buses is in Blacksburg. And they might be able to, because they've been doing it for several years, they might be able to give you some more information in terms of longevity and endurance.
Yeah, and the co-chairman of CIVA 100 Climate Alliance, James Groves, is a engineering professor at UVA, and he actually presented data from the Blacksburg transit system to City Council during the debate over the city's alternative fuels program or project. So, yeah, I would. First of all, I really appreciate Alan and Graham giving us this really interesting and useful information on EV infrastructure after last year's disappointment due to at the General Assembly and due to the governor's influence. I'm really heartened to see that you guys are still being very aggressive in promoting EV infrastructure. It's obviously necessary to meet our climate goals in the state and nationally. I also would want to encourage you. You might already know Annette, just Annette Oso, who's has been working with Resilient Virginia, and has been very active in the Valley. I think in terms of working with people on resiliency. So really encourage, and if you want to participate or invite us to participate in regional efforts on the climate, we'd be all for that, obviously, and willing to join you. One final question from Bill.
Yeah, as I'm sure you all probably know, and I'm sorry I don't remember the number of the executive order, but in April, the White House issued an executive order basically instructing the Department of Justice and maybe other agencies to go after any state or local policies and preferences that disadvantage fossil fuel. Have you all do you have any sense that the sort of things you're doing have been targeted at all?
Absolutely. Everything with the word clean in it has been targeted. Graham, who is speaking on this call, his job is community engagement and economic development. And so the word engagement is targeted. Everything is very awful right now. And that is where we get the core of our activities, is by tracking federal government interest. So we are readjusting our business plan completely to find other pathways. We're very careful. We recognize in Virginia folks like Ken Cuccinelli suing UVA over studying climate change. So everything awful that bad political actors do does come back around and it harms all of us.
Well, thanks a lot, Alan, for your presentation and for Graham's participation in it.